Shakira Dunson was born in Atlanta, Georgia on February 27, 1992.
She was my second child and my only girl. She had a smile that would just take over the world.
She was bubbly, someone that you couldn't resist, child that you would always want around you.
Shakira's effervescent personality found the perfect outlet early in life.
She really started to blossom around age 7. She did pageants, baton twirling, gymnastics. She had the energy of 5 or 6 kids at one time.
That energetic girl eventually blossomed into a smart, beautiful young woman. At Forest Park High, she was both a standout student and spirited cheerleader.
Cheerleading was her thing. Everybody pretty much knew her for the girl who flipped all the time at the basketball games. She could flip, oh my God, something crazy. All the way down the gym, wherever you wanted her to flip, she could do it.
But it was at Shakira's high school graduation party in May of 2010 that she met a young man that would change her life.
We were outside just flipping up and down the front yard, and there was this guy next door who we didn't know.
I see y'all. Y'all pretty good, man. I see you around here.
Thank you.
We actually just moved in next door. What's your name?
I'm Shakira.
Shakira?
Yeah.
Carlos Simpson.
Okay, Carlo.
They call me Carlo.
Okay, nice to meet you, Carlo.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
At first, Shakira wasn't sure what to make of her new neighbor. He was a little older, a little rough around the edges.
He had dreads, what looked to me to be kind of thuggish.
Unlike Shakira, Carlo never graduated from high school, so he made a living mowing grass.
But if Shakira and Carlos seemed like polar opposites, over the course of that long, hot summer, the two next-door neighbors warmed up to each other.
She was telling me about Carlos. Oh, he's sweet, he's cute. She sees the best in everybody. She felt like she could make him into a better person. It seemed like every time she saw him, she just got jumpy, happy, her stomach bubbling. You know how that goes when you got a crush.
But despite Shakira's strong feelings for Carlos, she remained hesitant to take their relationship public.
When I questioned her about it, she was like, no, Mom, we're just friends. There's nothing going on.
She knew her parents didn't approve of Carlo, so she wanted to take it slow and hope that they came around.
That fall, Shakira enrolled at Georgia Perimeter College with dreams of becoming a nurse.
She had that drive, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do what I need to do.
Shakira seemed to have it all. She's doing well in school, on her way to a good career, and has a man that she's falling for. Life is good.
But the following autumn, the 19-year-old got some unexpected news.
Shakira found out she was pregnant.
I was really, really angry. I'm like, this is not the life you want for yourself. You don't want to just be a statistic. You don't want to be another baby mama. This is not who you're destined to be.
Despite her parents' reservations, Shakira and Carlos were determined to have their child and build a life together.
Shakira's parents were disappointed, but they loved Shakira, and they eventually rallied around her.
Well, it's our baby, and we got to be there for her.
On April 20th, 2012, the couple welcomed a beautiful baby boy named Rafael into the world.
Carlo and Shakira knew it was going to be difficult, what with work, school, and a baby. But they seemed excited about building a family together.
Once the baby came in the picture, they both were excited. Their bond was like unbreakable.
But just 10 months later, on February 18th, 2013, all of Shakira's hopes and dreams vanished into the ether.
Just 9 days short of her 21st birthday, Shakira suffered a fatal gunshot wound standing just outside her boyfriend's family home.
Police now want to know who committed such a horrific crime and why.
The person who called 911 told the operator it was a drive-by shooting, so that's where police start.
Responding officers learned the 911 call was made by Victoria Simpson, Carlos's sister.
You the one to call 911?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what happened?
Victoria said that she, her sister Luana, and a family friend, Mark Thomas, were hanging out in the car talking to Shakira, who was standing right beside her.
Hey, y'all.
She gonna girl.
What you up to?
Ignore them.
They had just purchased a radio prior to my brother Wade. We was in the car, listening to the radio.
They heard a vehicle coming down the street. It was described as a black Honda with a loud muffler. They heard one shot. The next thing they knew is their friend had been shot in the head right next to that vehicle.
Oh my God,
Victoria and Luana tell police that their brother, Shakira's boyfriend Carlos, was inside the house when the shooting occurred.
Where's Shot right now, man? Right there.
Shot! No! Baby, look!
Police immediately issue an alert for this mysterious vehicle.
The officer puts out a bolo. A bolo is be on the lookout for. And he's given this information over radio dispatch to other police officers, surrounding agencies, so they know what to look for.
As police intensify their search for the mysterious black Honda, homicide detective Adam Quigley and his team arrive on the scene.
So what do we have here?
The victim, Shakira Dunson, she has a single gunshot wound to the face.
Our entire unit deployed to the scene. We canvassed the neighborhood, we went through some of the crime scene, and we interviewed very briefly the witnesses.
Investigators know there's any number of possible motives.
Was this a random shooting? Was Shakira the intended target? Or was someone else at the Simpson household the target?
While investigators ponder the possibilities, Shakira's family learns the devastating news.
Hello?
This weird number keeps calling.
What?
What?
I just dropped the phone and I immediately went to screaming, you know, Sean, DeMarcus, Shy has been shot.
When I heard it, it was like my whole world just dropped. Like, it just fell. It was chaos.
Shakira's family races over to the Simpson house.
Shot. Where's my daughter? Tell me something.
It was very chaotic. The crime scene tape was up. Police cars were everywhere. I'm like, can somebody tell me something? You know, this is my baby. What's going on?
I can see my sister's body literally like laying there beside her car. And my mom goes to screaming saying, I know that's my baby.
When I saw her, I just broke.
Shakira's grief-stricken family turns to her boyfriend Carlos for answers.
What happened to Shy?
I asked him what happened. He said that was a drive-by shooting and Shy got shot.
I was inside when it happened. I came out and that's how she was, man. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I don't know, man. I swear, man.
Just head inside, please. Come on. Let's go inside.
Detectives also want to talk to Carlos.
Just want to ask you a few questions. You're her boyfriend?
Yes, sir.
Detectives noticed that he had blood on his clothing or articles that he was wearing.
What's all that blood from?
Because I ran to her when I realized she'd been shot. I tried CPR. I tried to save her.
Carlo, he appears to be distraught. What the officer sees is consistent with what's been told by other people at the scene.
All right, do you have any idea who could have done this?
Oh, I have no idea.
Police continue searching the neighborhood for evidence, but it seems every step they take is another dead end.
If it was a semi-automatic handgun that possibly would leave you shell casings in the street, we didn't have that. We didn't have any tire marks.
Did you get anything on that car? No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
The big mystery was who was in that car and what was their motive. Were they targeting Shakira or someone else at the house?
Desperate for answers, detectives turn to Shakira's heartbroken family.
Very sorry about your loss, but we need to ask you a few questions about Shy and Carlo.
Yeah, what can you tell us about the relationship?
I'll be honest. I ain't never liked that boy. I mean, it was just something about him that said trouble.
To me, Carlos was not respectful at all. He wasn't a fit for my daughter. I mean, he had this thug mentality.
He was one of those wannabe bad boys. Unfortunately, you know, our young, smart, good women sometimes are attracted to that.
Carlos's new line of work also rubbed Shakira's friends and family the wrong way.
When I started noticing that he was in the street selling drugs, I was like, Shy, you sure this is what you want?
She knew how I felt about him. I wasn't secretive about it. I told her I didn't like him. I told him I didn't like him. Told his parents the same thing. I don't like him. And I don't think he's right for my child.
I've seen a lot of times when the parents don't approve, it pushes the couple together. It makes them even more eager to be together because it feels like the world is against us. And we'll make it if we just hang together.
The mind is a tricky thing, and the heart is even that much trickier. In the back of your mind is saying, run for the hills, but your heart is saying, I love him.
Had that devotion to Carlos cost Shakira her life?
This was a guy that was allegedly tied up in drugs. It could have been a dispute over turf or a drug deal gone bad. And someone came looking for Carlo and shot Shakira instead.
That was my first thought, that someone was actually after him. She took a bullet for him or got shot for him because it was something that he did in the streets.
That's all we need for now. We will be in touch soon.
While detectives head back to the station to mull over the drug lead, An autopsy is being conducted on Shakira's body at the DeKalb County Medical Examiner's office.
The medical examiner eventually calls detectives with the results from the autopsy, and what he tells them is pretty alarming.
She was what? Really?
Of course, the cause of death, a single bullet wound to the head, was not a surprise to investigators. But what was a surprise was that the pathologist determined that Shakira was pregnant, about 22 weeks pregnant.
What was that?
She was pregnant.
Investigators share the heartbreaking news of Shakira's second pregnancy with her family.
Hello?
Ms. Dunson? This is Detective Quigley.
Yes, detective.
Sorry to bother you and your family. I know it's been a rough time for you guys. And I need to check with you on something. Were you aware that your daughter was pregnant?
She was what?
I had no earthly idea because Sha was little, so she did not look as though she was expecting.
It was very sad to me. It hurted to the depths of my bones.
Once Shakira's family absorbs this tragic news, the subject of Carlos comes up.
During the relationship, Shakira found out that Carlo had other kids and other baby mothers.
Carlo had children with at least 2 other women. One of them even lived with Carlo for a time.
According to friends and family, Shakira had recently begun to suspect these women were more than just past flings.
One night, Carlo comes home late, and Shakira decides to confront him about the sketchy behavior he's been exhibiting.
She's like, where you been? And of course, she knew where he had been. 9 times out of 10, if she asked you a question, she already knew the answer. She was just waiting to see whether he was gonna lie to her.
But try as he might, it apparently wasn't easy for Carlos to keep a lid on all his baby mama's drama.
All of these women were competing for Carlos' affection, and they apparently didn't like Shakira, and they weren't afraid to show it.
Who is this? Excuse me? You
calm.
better watch your mouth.
Hey, calm down, ladies.
No, who is this? Who are you?
At one point in time, Shy was hysterical because somebody slashed her tires in her mom's driveway. There was a time that some girls wanted to fight her at work.
I guess one of the girls' name would come up, and then a girl would call Shakira. It was a back and forth thing with them, and Shakira would basically say something to her instead of Carlos stepping in as the man.
These other women are becoming more aggressive towards Shakira, and Carlo wasn't doing anything about it.
Within hours of Shakira Dunson's death, investigators in Decatur, Georgia have already identified several potential motives for her murder.
The witnesses at the scene, who were all friends and family of Shakira's boyfriend, Carlo, told police it was a drive-by shooting. The only question was who would have done something like that.
Carlo had exes that were probably jealous of Shakira being pregnant. There's also the possibility that someone was gunning for Carlo for a drug deal gone bad.
Carlo was into some marijuana. We didn't know at what level, if he was dealing, selling. We did have to look at, was this a target?
But before detectives have time to explore either lead more closely, they learn there's been a possible game-changing discovery at the impound lot where CSIs have been processing the car.
What'd you find?
I found a 9mm shell casing. It was stuck between the window and the dash.
That shell casing is found right where the dashboard meets the windshield. There ought not to be a shell casing in the vehicle if the drive-by shooting occurred from a car that was on the street.
It was hard for me to believe that a moving vehicle shot 1 round through an open window.
Someone had a weapon inside the car.
Investigators now know one of their eyewitnesses is lying to them. But whom?
At that time, a decision was made to have the 3 witnesses transported to our unit so they could be interviewed more in detail.
Just after daybreak, investigators split Mark Thomas and Carlos Simpson's 2 sisters up to interview them separately.
We explained to them the seriousness of the incident, and we allowed them to write their own statement in their own words, without any confrontation from us.
As for the recently discovered shell casing, police decide to keep that a secret for now.
We don't want them to know what we know. So we allowed them to write their full statement. It was very consistent. The story was, so we have 2 females in the back seat, and we have the victim standing next to the driver's side door. They're listening to music and just talking. It was a consistent story from the scene that they heard 1 gunshot and they observed their friend, get shot.
It's then that detectives decide to play their trump card. They start with Carlos's sister, Victoria.
We have reason to believe that Shakira was not shot in a drive-by, so we need you to tell us what's going on. Did it have something to do with drugs? One of Carlo's other girlfriends? Was he even in the house?
No. Look, somebody definitely shot at us. I swear. But I don't know who it was.
I hear you. The only thing with that is that all the evidence that we have is not gelling with your story at all.
Victoria didn't want to budge on her story. So the police turned to her sister, Luana, but she says the same thing.
We were all chilling in the car. A black car just pulls up out of nowhere. The next thing you know, bang, shot.
Me and Luana stuck with that same story. It was a drive-by.
For investigators, it's a frustrating quagmire. So they lean on their alleged third eyewitness, Simpson family friend, Mark Thomas.
You and your friends are in some hot water. We know this wasn't a drive-by shooting. We know there was a gun in Shakira's car. So you need to help yourself and them by telling us the truth.
We told y'all the truth.
Mark initially sticks with his story about the drive-by shooting, but as they start to press him, his resolve slowly weakens.
Okay, listen to me. You stick with that story, and you could find yourself with being charged with accessory after the fact.
Got something to show y'all back at the house.
Mark leads police to an area behind the Simpsons' home.
He takes the police to the tree in the backyard of the house.
The detectives went back there and located the firearm.
What you got?
Detectives notice it's the same caliber as the shell casing found in Shakira's car.
Got a 9mm.
I didn't want Carlo to hurt himself, so I just threw it over there. He started acting real crazy when Shy got shot.
That's all Mark was willing to say at that point, that he took the gun and tried to hide it.
He moved the gun, tried to protect my brother, but he thought he was doing something right.
Now, on one hand, Mark seems to be helping the police by leading them to this critical piece of evidence. But at the same time, he also complicates the story because up until now, the police have been told that Carlo was inside the house at the time of the shooting.
Investigators know there are two critical witnesses who may hold the answer. Carlos Simpson's sisters, Victoria and Luana.
Detectives already have them at police headquarters, so they decide to see if they can get one of them to tell the truth.
Once again, detectives sit down with Luana.
Still want to say that this was a drive-by shooting?
I do.
Do you know that there's a penalty for making a false statement to the police?
The detectives start asking her, you have two small kids, right? Do you want to see their mama in jail? Who's going to take care of those kids?
We've already found the shell casing. We have the gun. We know there was no drive-by shooting.
When I confronted her with our evidence and how I knew she was being untruthful, she made the decision just it wasn't worth sticking with the lie anymore.
What happened that night?
Carlos wasn't in the house.
Where was he?
He was in the car. He was on the driver's seat.
According to Luana, Carlo was in the car with her, Victoria, and Mark smoking marijuana when Shakira came up to the vehicle.
I need my car, Carlo.
Yo, where you think you're going right now, baby?
Home with my car? Y'all gonna have to take a party somewhere else.
She says Carlo and Shakira start arguing, and at some point, Shakira reaches into the car and pulls out a gun.
How about you go back inside the house and take care of the baby?
I'll take my baby with me, and we're not coming back.
Why would you say something like that? Hey, what'd you want? Hey, baby, I need you to calm down. This is not a toy, all right?
Luana claims that Shakira and Carlo began tussling over the weapon, and Luana hears what she believes is the safety clicking off.
Get out my car! What is wrong with you?
Give me the gun, down. What's wrong with you?
The next thing she hears is a bang.
Carlo, what did you do?
I don't know, man.
Oh my God, Carlo!
Shot, yo. Oh, no, man. Yo, why?
And it was during this chaos that Carlos' sister says Mark picked up the gun and hid it.
Luana's statement suggests Carlos killed Shakira after all. However, the motive is less clear.
Carlo was guilty of killing Shakira. We had physical evidence that is consistent with that statement, but we need to know why. Was it premeditated? Was it an act of passion? Was it an accident? We needed the why.
For investigators, the question now is whether the shooting was an accident or not. Detectives immediately bring Carlos Simpson into the station.
Carlo, once again, we're really sorry for your loss. Really.
They don't start by confronting him with, we know you did this, you might as well confess, because he may shut down and lawyer up. They want to build trust with Carlo and hope he'll tell them what happened.
We went maybe the first 30, 45 minutes into the interview with empathy. We tried to distance the fact that we were cops and kind of show him that we were people, we had our own families, we have our own feelings.
If you could just go over the story one more time, what happened?
I remember I was in the kitchen, and that's when I heard a loud bang.
Carlo, of course, doesn't know that his sisters have already told police what actually happened, so he just sticks with his story that it was a drive-by shooting.
Look, we know you were in the car. We know you had the gun.
We had to let him know that people make mistakes, but there are consequences for your actions. And I think that made it a lot easier for him to Speak to us.
I was in the car. It was me, my sisters, Mark. We're all in the car. We're just having a good time, just listening to music, laughing. Something about
Carlos says it was then Shakira approached the car.
I need
That
my
was
car,
just-
Carlo.
Yeah. Oh, baby, why are you so angry right now? What's wrong?
I have to go to work tomorrow, Carlo.
He tells the police that they weren't really fighting. They were arguing a bit. There was some back and forth. He asked her to go on back inside and check on their 10-month-old child.
Baby, look, how about you go back in the house, take care of the baby. He needs his mama right now.
I'll take the baby, and we're not coming back.
At some point, a gun comes out. A gun that Carlo claimed he bought for Shakira's protection, and her hand brushed it, and it went off.
He tells him the gun goes off accidentally. It was not intentional. He didn't mean to shoot her.
Why would you even say something like that right now?
Don't point that at me, except you want to use it.
I mean, what you mean? Ain't nobody playing on
Oh my God!
Once the trigger was pulled, there was immediately shock that, hey, I shot Shakira. We need to get help. We need to do something.
I swear to God, I wouldn't shoot her on purpose. It went off on its own.
He was upset. He understood that his life had just changed, in a drastic way. And now he's looking at very serious criminal charge.
The question now is how serious? As Carlos is taken into custody, investigators try to unravel the truth.
Carlo's story sounds improbable at best. Guns don't just go off accidentally.
The investigators aren't really buying this story, but to disprove it, they're going to need a motive, a reason why Carlo would have shot her.
When police confront their 3 chief eyewitnesses, they seem to confirm at least one part of Carlos's version of events.
Mark paints a picture of Carlo banging on the car because he's so upset. His other sister, who's in the backseat of the vehicle, gives a similar account of how distraught Carlo is, of him being upset, of him crying, of him holding Shakira's body. And so all of the testimony of witnesses who were actually at the scene of the shooting appear to paint a picture of an accidental shooting.
He loved Shakira. They were finna get married. Carlo wouldn't have hurt shot. I know that for a fact.
But when detectives talk to Shakira's family, they learn her relationship with Carlos had become increasingly strained in recent months.
I can recall one night, her just calling me. She was crying. She's like, I'm just tired of him. Tired of everything. I could hear the frustration in her voice. At that point in time, it was arguing constantly.
The relationship was toxic. They were arguing back and forth, and that's not who Shy was. She was this vibrant young lady, always smiling, and it got to a point where she started to look like she was just drained. She was always tired.
In fact, Shakira's cousin, Jessica Gilbert, recounts a conversation that took place between Carlos and Shakira only one day before Shakira's death.
She was taking me to my daughter's father's house, and he called.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Sha, what are you doing? Because I've been calling.
She put him on speakerphone.
When I call you, you pick up the phone.
I am not dealing with this, Carlo. You know what? I want out.
Yo, you can't do this to me.
They was going back and forth, and he stated to her, if I can't have you, I'm gonna make sure no one else will.
All right, well, hear this. You do this to me, you regret it.
Did he just like, okay, it's just...
I was asking her, Kira, why do you continue on going back and forth with him? If you don't want to be with him, leave.
Apparently, that's exactly what Shakira intended to do.
The very next night, the night that she's killed, Shakira goes to dinner with her brother DeMarcus, and she tells him she's reached the end of her rope.
I just can't take it anymore. I think he's still seeing this other woman. And he keeps lying to me about it.
Just enjoy dinner. Who is it?
You know who.
Carlos kept calling, asking where she was at and what she was doing and who she was with.
He was insinuating that she was out with another man and cheating on him.
And she was just saying, like, stop calling me. I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone.
Goodbye. That's it, I'm done.
Shakira tells her brother that she just can't take it anymore and that the relationship's over. And she is going to go over to Carlo's house and end it once and for all.
So I asked her, like, do you want me to go with you? And she was like, no, you don't have to go with me because I don't want nothing happening. So I was like, all right. So I was like, I love you.
Tragically, though, that was the last time DeMarcus spoke to his sister ever again.
Detectives start to believe the shooting was no accident, but they still need more evidence to build their case.
The problem for authorities is that 2 of the eyewitnesses are Carlo's sisters, and their story is that Shakira grabbed the gun first, then there was a tussle, and Shakira was accidentally shot.
Since 3 of their 4 chief witnesses are related, authorities lean once again on Mark Thomas.
The DA is planning on charging with evidence tampering. I can't promise you anything, but if you're truthful with us, it might help you out on your sentencing.
All right, so look, right now's the time. We need to tell us the truth about exactly what happened.
According to Mark, moments before the shooting, Carlo and Shakira were talking smack to each other. But more importantly, and conversely to what Carlo's sisters had said, Mark claims that Carlo had control of the gun and was waving it in Shakira's face.
She like rushed the gun and there was a shot.
Don't point that at me, it's sexual plan.
After hearing Mark's full account, police feel confident about one thing.
With the evidence that we found, we know he was angry, he was motivated, and he killed her.
Carlos Simpson is formally charged with Shakira's murder and the murder of their unborn child.
He was charged with felony murder, beat-aside, possession of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and aggravated assault.
There was no comfort. There's still no comfort because him being arrested never brings her back. It never lets us see her smile, hear her laugh. It's gone.
Carlo readily admitted to shooting Shakira. The only question was whether that shooting was accidental or deliberate when he pulled the trigger.
I think he purposely pulled it. And he say that it was an accident.
This wasn't an accident. Carlos killed Shy.
Loading me to do this. Carlo cares so much about Shakira.
My brother just made a mistake and shot his girlfriend. This actually was an accidental death.
On the one hand, you have Carlo, his sisters, and his family saying that it was an accident. And on the other hand, you have Shakira's family who says that Shakira went there that night to end the relationship and Carlo killed her in a fit of rage.
And it's under that cloud of controversy that Carlos Simpson's trial gets underway on March 3rd, 2015, 2 years after Shakira's death.
The prosecution believed that they had an argument, that she wanted out of the relationship. He flew off the handle and he shot her intentionally.
For prosecutors, one of the most telling pieces of evidence is a conversation that allegedly took place between Carlos and Shakira shortly after she arrived at his house on the evening of the shooting.
We had a long conversation with Carlos' sister and discovered that there was actually an argument that took place in the bedroom just an hour earlier where Carlo was accused of cheating on the victim, and they had a dispute about that.
What do you want?
Yo, you always on my case, Shy. You need to just relax. Why can't you relax sometimes?
Because you need to grow up. I am done dealing with this.
He gave some kind of story of where he was and his alibi didn't check out. She called him out on it. It was understood she was about to end the relationship, and that angered him.
Oh, whoa, hey, who do you think you are? You don't walk out on me.
Just watch me.
Prosecutors call Mark Thomas to the stand to tell jurors what happened next.
While Shakira is taking care of their baby and getting her belongings together, Carlo, his sisters, and Mark Thomas go out to the car and start partying.
Good. I need my car, Carlo.
Yo, how about you go back in the house and take care of the baby? You need his mama right now.
I'll take my baby and we're not coming back.
Carlo reached where he knew the gun was and pointed that gun at her.
Don't point that at me, it's sexual plan.
I think that's what led up to the murder. She called him out, he got upset about that, and she challenged him. He pulled the gun out, he pointed at her, and he made a conscious decision to pull that trigger.
To support their contention that Shakira's death was premeditated, prosecutors call Shakira's cousin, Jessica Gilbert, to the stand to testify.
I testified to hearing the conversation between Carlos and Shakira in the car. He stated that if he can't have her, nobody else will. So basically, it's like you telling her this, and then next thing you know, she's gone.
Jessica's statement was crucial to the state's case. More than anything else, it showed intent, and the prosecution claims that he made good on that promise.
But Carlos's defense attorneys put a different spin on the events that evening.
The defense's position was that this was an accident. He had no intention to shoot her. There is no one who was actually present at the time of the shooting that would indicate that Carlo intended to shoot her.
Don't point that at me, except you want to use it.
I mean, what you mean? Ain't nobody planning on using it?
According to Mark, Shakira had used her hand to push the gun away, and as she did that, the gun went off. Everyone who testified about the incident said that his actions immediately after the shooting were not consistent with someone who intended to shoot her.
Yo, who calling for help right now, man?
The defense really wanted to educate the jury, and they were ready to say, yeah, he's guilty of manslaughter. He did it. He took a life. But it was an accident. It was an act of passion. It wasn't violence.
But prosecutors say there's just one problem with Carlos's accident story.
They say that Shy hit the gun and the gun went off. There was no way. One of the examiners brought in like 8 pounds of sugar and put it in a bag, and he had the jurors to actually hold it with their finger. He said it takes that much pressure to pull that trigger. So there was no way she hit it and it went off.
But will it be enough to persuade the jury? Following closing arguments, the 12 men and women are sent to deliberate. On Friday, March 6, 2015, the jury returns with a verdict.
He was found guilty on all charges: feticide, felony murder, possession of a firearm, and aggravated assault.
At a sentencing hearing 3 days later, Shakira's mother, Denise, addresses the court.
I spoke upon Shy, who she was as an individual, who she was to us, and who she was to her son, Raphael. She lost the opportunity to see her child grow. She never heard his first words, never saw his first steps. You know, she missed all of that due to his cowardly act.
Carlos Simpson is sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms in prison.
I was happy with the court's decision, even though it doesn't fill that void because she's forever gone. But to know that he's been held accountable for this brings a sense of comfort.
The rest of Shakira's family and friends struggled to find some measure of peace.
I thought closure would come from the guilty verdict, but it didn't make anything easier. Shy is not here. The only thing we can do is let her memory stay alive.
I want people to remember her for all the good times, the good memories, the laughs, the smiles, the energy, the positive energy she kept around people.